Hey guys. So we just finished our first 20 episodes of Movies and Minutes. Actually, I think this is going to come out after my 21st episode. But I just wanted to do a little check-in with you guys. More kind of about the movie industry as a whole right now, where we're at. And, maybe every 20 episodes or so, just come on and give you guys a little um kind of look at where things are, where they could be going. I mean, the purpose of this channel, just as a reminder, as always, is I'm here to promote films. I'm here to promote people going to the movies. I understand that in the world that we live in, we have lots of things that keep us from doing that. We've got jobs, we have families, we have things that just kind of stop us from being able to get there. Not so long ago, I mean, it feels like it's been a long time because we've tried our best to put our distance to it, but not so long ago, COVID was a thing. And when it was, the movie theater industry was dying. I mean, it almost seemed like we were going to get a return to the drive-in movie theater business, because people having to distance themselves but still wanting to get out of the house. And somewhere along the lines, we kind of got complacent. We were okay with just watching stuff at home. The industry kind of catered to us. They were like, hey, we'll do day and date releases, or we'll hit stuff, home shortly after it comes out in theaters. I think on the high end these days, if a movie hits, say it came out August 1st, I would not be shocked if you saw it on digital home demand by like the third week of August, maybe fourth. But it really doesn't take that long. The only holdouts are going to be movies that are actually being profitable in the theater. Um, I think we're just about the 3 week mark for Barbie and Oppenheimer, and I don't think that they're going to put those on digital just yet because they're actually making money in the theaters. They are probably sustaining cinema viewing right now because so many people are going, and I'm not sure if it's because of actual interest in those films or just the meme, either or. But there's sort of a concern now, for anybody that aren't aware. Back in May, there was a writer strike that started. The last time we had one, I want to say, was like 2008, and it lasted a couple months, but we're still feeling the effects even to today, in some things. And it came time for another one. Contract negotiations for writers broke down, and studios just let them walk off. And at first, you figure, okay, I mean, if you're a not great theater or studio, you hire scab writers, and at least you still have the acting talent, and you can kind of find a way to muddle through. In July, the actors were due for contract renegotiations as well. The SAG-AFTRA union, which is the vast majority of actors in Hollywood, and negotiations for them broke down as well. So 90% of Hollywood is dark right now. Writers, actors are out. The only people in Hollywood that would be working if stuff was on would be like set design, stage people, things like that. Those guys are either ununionized or are a separate union. So far we haven't seen too many movies affect like our current viewing in the theaters, because of these strikes. But what a lot of people don't know is, as a part of their union contracts, they are not allowed to promote anything while on strike. So an actor might be in a movie, but because they're part of the union, if they're on strike, they can't promote it. And a lot of these big studios rely on those promotions to get people in the theaters, especially at a time when people are going even less. So the delays are slowly starting for anybody, who haven't started to notice them. They have started to post delays for some films, and some of them will be movies that people don't care so much about. I mean, there's a Kraven the Hunter movie coming out from Sony, which is a Spider-Man villain movie. To date, most of these Spider-Man villain movies have not been great, so I don't think anybody's going to care that one got bumped from October to next August. But then there's other things like Mission Impossible 7 just came out, and it was a part one. And the idea is that part two would be coming out next summer. Part two is not actually done. Big shocker, they they bill them and they hope that, oh, we'll finish by then. But then a strike comes up like this, and more than likely that is going to get bumped from its date because it won't be ready in time. And there's lots of others. I mean, TV shows are affected as well. Just trying to think. I mean, there's some that people may not have even known were coming. There's a Lilo and Stitch live action movie coming from Disney that's been bumped. Deadpool 3, which actually got moved up from November to May next year, is probably going to get bumped back again. There's just a ton of them. But I think the thing to keep in mind, at some point, ideally, actors, writers, studios will come back to the table and hopefully come to some sort of arrangement. I right now think on the low end, you're going to start to see some real effects to your TV and movies starting in September. Because I mean, a lot of things still have dates on the table. And I think that as they realize that they can't promote them and people won't really have any idea that these films are coming out, they'll want to bump them in the hope that they can get a more favorable date for when the strikes end. So September is my prediction for when you'll really start to notice it. There's not so many people talking about these strikes right now because it doesn't affect them. So when it starts to affect people more, it'll probably be more in the airwaves, more in the news. Like you'll see some big budget tentpole movie get bumped back, and that'll be when people are like, "Oh my God, these strikes are a big deal." And the rest of us who watch movies regularly are like, "We've been talking about this since May/July. Where you been?" I hate to be pessimistic about it because I'm a pretty optimistic person. I honestly believe that they won't have this settled until January. I think maybe they'll make arrangements and a deal will be struck before January, but I think the actual everything going back to normal will be start of the new year, because it'll be really bad PR for the studios going from Christmas time and having these people still on strike, standing outside, making no money, not with their families. It'll be like a PR windfall for them to be like, "Hey, we've settled this, and now all these people can go do stuff for Christmas." I mean, I want to be wrong. I want them to be settled long before that, but just realistically, the last strike ran several months, and I wouldn't be shocked if this one ran slightly longer. So there's that. The one thing, regardless of what movies are coming out, I mean, especially now, you're going to start to see more indie stuff, because a lot of the indie theater, or keep saying theaters, but they're indie studios, aren't beholden to the same rules, because a lot of these people aren't in the big unions, because they're smaller actors, smaller studios. Something that I don't think everybody is considering, though, a lot of the actors will be fine money wise. They're all okay. They're pretty much, the actors are pretty much striking in solidarity with the writers. The writers don't make as much. Your average writer in Hollywood is making somewhere between $48,000 and $72,000 a year. And if you live in the LA area, that's not a lot. I mean, it sounds like a lot to us, depending on where you live. I mean, if you made 48 to 72,000, where I live in upstate New York, you're doing all right. You've got a house. You probably, you're probably middle class. In Hollywood, though, rent's a lot higher. Everything is a lot higher. In California, everything costs more. So it's all relative. But not only are those people being affected, movie theaters themselves. This time I actually didn't mean to say theaters, not studios. But movie theaters themselves are just kind of recovering now from COVID. It's taken them this long to get regular business back in theaters, because if you remember COVID, nobody was going. I mean, there were social distancing rules. People just didn't have a reason. I mean, yeah, they wanted to get out of the house, but not in large enough numbers. Most people were like, I'm going to stay home. I was a crazy person that was still going to the theaters when able, but the releases were much more staggered too, because with COVID, they don't, same kind of problem as these strikes. You don't want to release stuff when you don't think anybody's going to go watch it. You'd rather wait, for the the pandemic to blow over and then put it out and get the most revenue that you can. So I think some people take theaters for granted. And again, everybody's got their own lives, own things they've got going on, but we all love movies in some way, shape, or form. So here's the one thing that I'll say. From me to you to the theaters of at least the US, but if not the world, try to go at least once a month. Just once. If every person that was instead paying to watch a digital, movie at home was going to the theaters instead once a month, I think they could weather through these strikes. I think it would put them in a much better position, to be sustainable in the future, because if not, you're going to see a lot more theaters close. This isn't a joke. I mean, the big chains are reporting massive losses. I mean, Regal, I believe, filed for Chapter 11 last year. In New York alone, they closed, in our upstate region, they closed like 5 theaters. Sometimes that's all people have in their area, you know what I mean, is the chain ones. And, by all means, support a smaller theater if you'd like. But again, the smaller theaters are even closer to being closed than the chain ones are. They need your support. I sound like a telethon ad here, but I'm really more trying to be forward thinking about this, because when the industry eventually recovers from the strike, which, realistically would still not be, it's not like the second that they sign a deal that it'll recover right away, because they'll have already delayed a bunch of movies and they're not going to push them back up. You'll just have to wait for them to come out. The theaters are going to be hurting in the meantime because they still won't have anything in them, or won't have much in them. So just consider, for your movie viewing, once a month, just once, you know what I mean? Make it like a treat. Look at like what's coming out that month, or even if you're not that in depth with it, maybe you see an ad and you're like, oh wow, I definitely want to watch that movie. Go see it on the big screen once, and then all your other stuff, watch streaming. It's fine. We get it. Streaming platforms exist. Not here to begrudge them by any means. There's lots of movies that are strictly on those platforms and not on like big theater things. But from me to you, I want movie theaters to continue to exist. I'm sure that you all do as well. I mean, you want to have the option to be able to go to the theater, because there are other ramifications to theaters closing. If studios don't have somewhere to put those movies, you're going to see less movies being made, less movies coming out. Movies are going to cost more to make. The remaining theaters that are open are going to cost more, because they all have to pass that cost on. So 20 episodes in, guys, movies in minutes. I do just want to take a moment and acknowledge all my guests that I've had on, all the movies that we've talked about. Been great. I can't wait for the next 20, and more. Got a nice couple of episodes planned for the next couple of weeks. There's actually a decent amount of movies coming out, despite this somber warning about movie delays and stuff. The next couple of weeks, you've got stuff like Blue Beetle. What else? There's a new Agatha Christie movie, Haunting in Venice. Oh, this week alone, we've got Last Voyage of the Demeter, which I'm very hot for. It's a horror movie. It's a Dracula film. So, again, just keep an eye out. And if you're ever not sure what's coming out or what to get excited for, obviously follow, subscribe to the channel. That's what I'm here for, to tell you about the things coming out. But this is me, Nabil Khan, your friendly neighborhood comic book dude, signing off. I will catch you guys on the next episode. Have a good one, guys.